I'm Nita Goel Popli. Today in the Darshan Studios, we're privileged to have with us the critically acclaimed author, Dr. Padma Venkatraman, who's just written her second novel entitled Island's End. Padma, it's a pleasure to have you here in the studio with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about how you got inspired to write this novel, Island's End, which is geared towards young adults, which is a genre that we typically don't see Indian American authors delving into. So how did you come up with this idea?
I was working on the Andaman Islands off the coast of India as an oceanographer, and it was a wonderful time because I interacted with such a very different culture, and I wanted to bring that alive. And I wanted to bring something alive to young adults as well anyways, and so that's the reason that I targeted them, is because I think they have an energy that maybe we lose sometimes as adults. And if any change is really going to happen in the world, I think it will be the young ones that bring that on.
That's an excellent theme. And keeping that in mind, I wanted to ask you also, you were primarily a teacher before you decided to go into writing. So is that one of the reasons that led you to go into young adult?
I was a teacher, and that was a very inspirational time because I think as a teacher, you learn so much from the children that you teach. And certainly that was something that led me toward them. But I have been writing for children and for adults for a very long time. So my training was as a scientist, as an oceanographer for many years, very rigorous, very mathematical, which I loved, absolutely. But it also took me away from the world of letters, which I also love. And so writing about science initially, which is what I started to do, was a way for me to sort of link up with that aspect of me that loved writing so much.
One of the things that you write about in most of your novels, in fact in Climbing the Stairs, which is also critically acclaimed, you delve into this topic of identity and a coming-of-age novel. I think that's how both of these books can be classified. So is this something that you consciously chose because you too are an Indian American and you were thinking about identity as a big issue for our generation of kids?
Certainly. I think it's partly a conscious choice, but partly also something that I had to struggle with. So it's also something that's a very personal choice, and it's something that is inside of me. I chose to become an American, so I'm not Indian American in the sense of being born into it. Sure. But in a way, that choice, when you make it consciously, is to me very, very deep and very meaningful. And so I did struggle at that time with, what part of me was Indian, what part of me was American. And that certainly is something that plays in then as a child is growing up into being a young man or a young woman. They always struggle with that, regardless of what culture they come from. But certainly when they're in a transplanted culture, right, like we are, that is certainly a very important question.
Well, then you also came up with very inspirational role models in these novels. Yes. In both novels, the characters are very strong. Since we're here talking specifically about Island's End today, why don't you tell us a little bit about the background story behind Guido's discovery?
Certainly. Island's End is about a tribe that I worked I want to say in proximity with is probably the best thing, because I'm an oceanographer, not an anthropologist, so I didn't study them or anything. But I was in this fantastic place off the coast of India, which belongs to India, and it is very remote, and the people there live in a way that is almost unbelievable for us to think about now, because they live without technology at all. They live in a way that our ancestors used to live, thousands of years ago.
In fact, you did too. When you worked as an oceanographer on the islands, you had no electricity, you had no television, no radio, no computer, so it must have been very, very challenging.
Yes, no running water, nothing. But it was lovely because it also teaches you that there are some things that are so, in a way, universal that we all share, regardless of the culture that we come from. And also, just the ability to be able to live like that without all of this technology was something that I think gave me personally a lot of strength. Just to know, yes, I have all of this, to value it because I have it, knowing that very different type of life without it.
Both of your books feature very strong female characters, and I already know that the third novel is also going to feature another strong female. What made you decide to go in that direction of featuring females in the lead?
Climbing the Stairs is about my mother's life and how much she had to struggle as a young woman growing up in sort of World War II affected India. At the same time, we were having our freedom struggle at that point. And she made a very, very deep impression on me as a child. So everything I am today, in large part, I owe to her and her strength as a very independent woman and a very intelligent woman, who then fought to really break and push the envelope of what she was allowed to do at that time. And I think that left enough of an impression on me that when I went to these islands and I found that on the tribe,